Well, welcome, George. So my name is Rachel. I write for my own blog, Pretty and Baby Food, where I cover entertainment, travel, and anything parenthood. Um, and I have been watching your shows on millionstories.com. And as a frugal person, I love them because I don't like to spend a lot of money when I travel. And my husband dislikes it because he likes to do all the fancy things when we go places.
Right.
So I watched I was sent some that have not been released yet. So I watched those with my daughters, and they think you're hysterically funny.
Oh, that's good to
Um,
hear.
so we have a bunch of questions for you.
How old are your daughters?
So I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Oh, okay.
And so a couple of the places from the episodes that we watched, we have actually gone to. So they thought it was very funny to see you go to the same places that they had gone to. And of course, then they're like, Mom, why didn't we go there? Why didn't we go to that place?
Right.
So it's a combination of my questions and their questions.
All right.
But my first one is, what inspired you to create this series? And why did you cap it at $100 for when you go around to visit the city?
The series came, I think, from my own personal life. I've always sort of loved to travel, as many people do, but I've never necessarily had the bankroll for it. And so I just, tried to get creative and tried to kind of, live outside of my bottom line and just sort of still have fun without breaking the bank. And I've worked in TV for many years. And so at a certain point, it just kind of made sense to combine those two aspects of my life and, working in TV and traveling on a dime and, making a show like this. And as for $100, it just felt like a nice round number, a number that wasn't too low or too high. It kind of, I think, split the difference, kind of walked that line between it's enough, to have a good amount of fun, but also it's not breaking the bank too much. It's
Right.
A lot of people can spend $100. It's a fair amount of disposable income that someone might have.
Right. Well, and I mean, food cost alone is probably actually one of the highest costs out of that $100.
Can be, depends on where you go.
Well, that's fantastic because I know that even though I have kids, I always set a budget for whenever we travel. And, while watching the show with my kids, I was explaining to them that there are so many things to do in a city that don't require money, like going to the parks and seeing some of this. Like, a lot of cities do those statues that go all around the cities and stuff like that. And they loved the episode with the little doors.
Oh, yeah.
You visited. They thought that was great. And I told them, I was like, look, that's free. And that's a lot of cities have stuff like that. And those are great. You don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to go to different places in the city. So they thought that was great.
Those are very popular. That's Tiny Doors ATL in Atlanta. I think there's 15 of them or so at this point. I only went to a handful of them in the show, but yeah, a lot of cities have like that, just artwork, artists doing things just like that. And if you look into it, you find some cool stuff.
So for every episode, how long does it take you to research what exactly you want to do? Because it does look like you're a man with a plan when you go into these episodes. And that's actually what helps people save a lot of money, is going in with a plan.
Agreed completely. Going in with a plan, and which is not to say that there isn't room for winging it a little bit. I mean, that's also part of the fun of travel, is discovering things when you're there. So, you want to be a fly by the seat of your pants a little bit, but also I'm a big proponent of, putting in the research beforehand. I spend, probably at least, a couple of days, researching, digging deep into, past the first page of Google results or the first page.
Yeah, you got to pass the page.
The first page of TripAdvisor, or Atlas Obscura. I don't know if you've ever heard of Atlas Obscura. That's a fantastic resource that they kind of catalog some of the more curious things in a city, or just when you see something, or you like reading up on the history of a city and seeing like, oh, that's curious. And then, you know, Googling that, like, uh, prohibition in Savannah or something like that. And you kind of discover some curiosities about the city that maybe relate to the history that can come. Things kind of have a way of coming full circle when you start doing your research.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I know that my husband, he gets a little tired of some of the research I do for our vacations because I'm a lot of tab person. I got all these tabs open. I'm like, if we do this, we can save this. If we do this, we can do that. So I'll have to look up that website, and he's going to absolutely love that.
Right.
But so this question comes from my 5-year-old.
Oh, okay.
She wants to know, and I know it might be hard to pick, but what is your favorite city that you have visited throughout all of the episodes that you've done?
Well, I grew up outside of New York City, so I am a little biased towards New York. But outside of that, I would probably say Chicago. It,
Yeah.
I'd been there before, but I absolutely love Chicago. It's just something about it. I'm a big fan. I can't wait to
Now,
go.
is that where the pizza museum was?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. That was because I was having my kids go through, well, what is your favorite thing that George has done? And the pizza museum was like at the top of the list for all my kids. They're like, I want to go see all the different kinds of pizzas.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that one was their favorite. Now, my 3-year-old, she wants to know, speaking of pizza, what your favorite food or your favorite activity has been out of all of the episodes.
Okay. Well, related to pizza, I'll say the favorite food was probably in Philadelphia. I don't know if you saw that episode.
Mhm,
Oh, you did. Okay.
mhm.
The Philly taco,
Yes.
the Philly cheesesteak wrapped in a slice of pizza, which is it's greater
Genius.
than some of its parts. It is. Thought it was amazing. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but I was very pleased with that. And it was, something. It's obviously it's a cheesesteak, but it's a little different than the standard cheese. Everyone knows about Philly cheesesteaks, but not everyone knows about a Philly taco. Um, and as for my favorite place I really loved, and if you saw the Milwaukee episode,
Mhm.
the Cheesehead Factory,
Yes.
make our own foam cheese heads that they wear at Green Bay Packers games. That
Yes. My
place.
5-year-old was wondering, why is he wearing cheese on his head? And I had to explain to her because my grandparents lived in Wisconsin, and I know that cheese heads is a big thing. So I had to explain to her the whole thing behind that.
Yeah, it's a great place, and it's a great just. Sometimes you hear this. I mean, I didn't get into it in the show, but you hear the stories of behind these businesses sometimes, and it's just it was a guy who just made a cheese head out of a couch cushion and went to a Milwaukee Brewers game, and people were like, "Oh my God, where'd you get that? I want one." And he's like, "I just made it," and he started selling them. And like now, 30 years later, here he is. He has this whole factory in downtown Milwaukee, and it's just like it's a great story beyond being a great product and a fun place.
Yeah, that I wish that would happen to me. I wish I could come up with an idea like that and do that. So what's next? I know you have a bunch of these episodes that are coming out, but because of what's going on in the world and stuff like that, have you been able to film anything since these other episodes that you created that will be coming onto millionstories.com? Or have you been, biding your time and making that list and throwing darts at the map and getting ready?
Unfortunately, we haven't done anything since then. We shot all these episodes before the pandemic, and since the pandemic hit, we haven't shot anything. I've been abiding by
Mhm.
all the guidelines, and I haven't been traveling. So yeah, in the meantime, it's been kind of just longingly looking at the maps behind me and wondering where's next. But I don't know. It's hard to make really concrete plans these days with everything that's going on. But I'm hoping once maybe this summer, once things start opening up a bit, we can do more. I'd love nothing more than to make more episodes. Million Stories has been a
To go.
fantastic year to work with, and still plenty more cities to visit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, going from my window to my wall has been a little bit not as exciting as it used to be at the beginning. But
Yeah.
um, so I guess my next one was going to be, what do you really hope that people will take away from your series other than how to just travel to these different cities and do it within a budget?
I mean, I hope that people will get, you know, expanding your horizons. I think even, obviously, of course, there is the, you can travel without breaking the budget, but I hope people can think about travel in a broader sense and sort of open themselves up to new things that they might not have thought of. I mean, in the New York episode, I took breakdancing lessons, and I think a lot of people might look at that and say, I would never do that. And I hope that they look at it and say, like, you know what, maybe I would do that. Like, do something that's a little silly. And like, of course, you're not, when am I ever really going to use breakdancing lessons in my life? But that's not the point. It's about having fun and doing something that, is related to that city. Breakdancing is from the Bronx. And so it felt New Yorky to do it. And
Mhm.
so even if it's outside of your comfort zone, lean into it and have fun with it.
Awesome. That's fantastic. I know that we have thoroughly enjoyed watching the episodes that will be coming out. And I also love and appreciate that while your show isn't necessarily focused towards kids, that kids can still watch it because it is so important for kids to learn about money. And one of the great ways to do that is from parents. So the fact that parents and kids together can watch your show is fantastic, because I know that my kids had so many questions while watching, and the fact that you kept track of everything, that kind of really helped them think themselves outside of the box. And it also fosters and helps to grow their love of travel instead of just wanting to stay in this area. They when you went to places like I mentioned that they had gone to before, they wanted to go back.
Yeah.
And so that was fantastic. Um, and another thing that my 5-year-old, she was saying, she was like, Mom, you got to tell him when you talk to him, he needs to come to our state. He needs to come to where we live. So my 5-year-old wants you to either visit Washington, D.C. in one of your episodes or Baltimore in one of your episodes, because she would absolutely love for you to be able to see those things on your show as well.
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, like I said, plenty of places to go if we make more of them.
Awesome. Well, thank you, George, so much for speaking with me. And I can't wait for these episodes that we got to see to release to millionstories.com. And if you don't mind, if you could just tell people where else they could find you outside of millionstories.com.
Yeah, well, these episodes are available only on millionstories.com, but I also have my personal YouTube channel where I make travel content when I can, when there's not a pandemic. That's just my name, George Igoe. If you Google it, it's the first thing that comes up. So there, or on Instagram, george.igoe.
Perfect.
I'm pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for taking your time. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend.
Well, thank you for having me.